Hello friends, this is Dr. Preeti Srivastav. You might have heard that prevention is better than cure, but in case of genetic diseases, prevention is the ultimate cure because till date not a satisfactory and 100% cure is available for all the genetic diseases. And I am on my mission to create awareness in the public about the genetic disorders and their prevention. So let's start with today's topic, that is thalassemia, which is a genetic blood disorder. It is a autosomal recessive disorder. So let's talk about this in detail. We'll go through one by one on this topic. There are subtopics called introduction, statistics, types, inheritance, symptoms, treatment, and prevention of. Now, if we come to the introduction, you can see this is a slide or the smear picture of a thalassemia patient in which different kind of RBCs you can see. The most prevalent genetic blood disorder in which body produces abnormal hemoglobin, and the large scale destruction of RBCs or red blood corpuscles due to production of this faulty protein or the faulty hemoglobin. This leads to anemia. And of course, I have said as it is an autosomal recessive disorder. That means the genes governing this kind of defect, they are present on our autosomal chromosomes, not on the sex chromosome. So there are 22 pairs of autosomes, and on which they are present specific chromosomes are there, and they need two defective genes to be present for the genes to express itself in a full theme. Now, if we talk about the statistics in India, there are almost 3.6 to 3.9 crore carriers of beta thalassemia, while each year about 10,000 to 15,000 babies with beta thalassemia major are. Before understanding what is major and what is minor beta thalassemia, let's take a look at the hemoglobin structure. Hemoglobin, which is responsible for the oxygen carrying, or it is called the oxygen carrying molecule of our body. So there are four chains, two alpha chains and two beta chains. And for governing, depending upon the types of chains which are defective in our particular hemoglobin, there are two types of thalassemia. This is the beta thalassemia and alpha thalassemia. So for beta thalassemia, we have got two beta chains in our hemoglobin, and to govern these two beta chains, there is only one gene which is located on chromosome number 11, and it has got, of course, two alleles. That gene is represented by HBB. While in case of alpha genes, these are also two in numbers, and the governing genes are two in number. These genes are represented by HbA1 and HbA2, and as it is clear that there are two genes and each gene has two alleles, so there are total number of alleles are 4 for governing these alpha genes present in hemoglobin, and these genes are located on chromosome number 16. And in this particular case, as there are 4 genes in alpha thalassemia, so if any one of these alleles is affected, or how many alleles are involved, how many alleles are defective, depending on the number of alleles defected, the severity of the this particular disease can be seen. Now, if we come to the inheritance of this particular trait, so again it is a autosomal recessive inheritance. As we can see, if both the partners, means if both the parents are having one defective gene, they will be called as carriers. They won't show any symptoms and they will lead a normal life, but they are having one defective gene and one healthy gene. So if both the genes are there, means both of having one particular defective gene, then there are 25% chances of a diseased child in each pregnancy. 25% chances of a pure healthy child, 25% chances are of the diseased child who will show all the symptoms and will suffer lifelong, and 50% chances of the children, they will be having the carrier genes, or they will be behaving like a carrier, means silent, they won't show any symptoms and they can lead a normal life, but again in next generation they can pass it on to the next generation. So this is how this particular trait is inherited. If we can denote the capital H for a healthy gene, then the genotype capital H will express the normal phenotype of any person. If the person is having one healthy gene, that is denoted by capital H, and one defective gene, that is denoted by small h, capital H, small h, if this is the genotype, then its phenotype would be normal, but it is a beta thalassemia minor or the carrier. So its normal year expectancy is there, and slightly they can be anemic, but otherwise they lead a normal life. While in case of it is if both the defective genes are present in a one particular person, the genotype is small h, then they are called beta thalassemia major. And if the proper treatment is not done, proper care is not given, then their lifespan is only 1 to 2 or 3 years lately. While in case of frequent blood transfusion and proper care, they may lead to 15 to 20 years of life. But nowadays supportive system and care and medication and so many government policies are there, so their life expectancy has increased, but they have to suffer lifelong. It's a very means difficult position. Now what are the symptoms of thalassaemic patient? They suffer from hemolytic anemia, and due to anemia there is weakness and fatigue all the time. There is shortness of breath again due to lack of oxygen. Then they have dark colored urine, loss of appetite, so many means symptoms like jaundice. The slow growth and development in children is observed, those who are suffering from thalassemia. Then enlarged spleen, liver and other internal organs are also seen. There is accumulation of iron in the body, which is very harmful for the internal organs. They are having pale skin and they are having so many jaundice like symptoms. Now, what is the treatment? Treatment for thalassemia major is the recurrent blood transfusion. Every 2 to 3 weeks, they need a regular blood transfusion. And along with blood transfusion, there is a therapy called iron chelation therapy, which is done to remove excess iron in the body and which is very essential along with the blood transfusion. Then for cure there is bone marrow transplantation, and nowadays stem cell therapy is also there, but they are on the experimental stages, and up to some extent they are means very useful and they have been successful, but not as the ultimate cure. So what can be concluded? That there is a huge physical, mental and economic burden involved with this disease. So prevention is the best policy. According to National Health Mission guidelines also, marriages between two carriers should be discouraged. Carriers means otherwise healthy persons, but they are having defective genes. So if both the partners or the parents are carriers, or the would-be parents or the would-be partners are carriers, if they are having a defective gene in their genome, they should avoid these kind of marriages. And even if they marry, they must go for genetic counseling and prenatal diagnosis to avoid such a kind of thalassaemic major patients, the bringing up a child with a thalassemia major. And now for prevention, the creating awareness and population education. This plays a major role in prevention of all the genetic diseases. So what should be done? Mass screening for thalassemia minor must be done in our society. It includes the complete blood count, hemoglobin electrophoresis and genetic analysis with only with a single drop of your blood. And after all these tests, if somebody is found thalassemia minor, then the genetic counseling is the next step for him or her, to advise him or her that he or she must check that if her partner or his partner is not thalassemic minor before marriage. And even if at this stage it is not done, then at the time of pregnancy there are so many prenatal diagnosis tests are there, and one of these tests is CVS or the chorionic villus sampling in the very first trimester of pregnancy, which can show that if the fetus which is inside a woman, if he or she is thalassemic minor or major or a healthy child. And we should stop carrying a child having thalassemia major disease in this particular society or in a home as far as possible, because this is a very painful procedure for that particular child. Also the lifelong suffering is there, lifelong he has to meet a recurrent blood transfusion, iron chelation therapy, or he has to look for a donor who can give him or her for the bone marrow transplantation or stem cell therapy, which are very cumbersome process, economically very burdenful. So we must prevent all these things with creating awareness. And I hope that all of you whomsoever are listening and viewing my channel will spread this awareness to your friends, to your neighborhood, and will abide by all the guidelines which are necessary to prevent all the genetic diseases and genetic disorders. So with these lines, thank you very much for listening me. Of course, I am not a doctor, but I am a geneticist and I can create awareness. That is my belief, and I think you will support me. Thank you very much. Bye.